Lili and Mrs. Cricri by Edilaine Garrido, Folieni, Pereira. There were some animals who lived in the fantasy kingdom: ducks, rabbits, owls, geese, birds and cats. Everyone lived in perfect harmony. One day, Mr. Owl, who was in charge of the kingdom, scheduled an assembly. He explained to everyone that he needed a helper to keep the kingdom in perfect order. From that moment on, he would have to do some tasks out of the kingdom. Mrs. Cricri, a soft-spoken, delicate-looking white duck, asked Mr. Owl a question. "Aren't you going to look after the kingdom anymore?" "Yes, ma'am, I am, but I need help. By the way, would anyone like to help me?" The animals were silent. No one was willing to help. Mrs. Cricri gave her opinion. "We can hire an assistant from outside the kingdom." Everyone agreed. Then came Mrs. Lili, a strong and serious rhinoceros who started to help Mr. Owl do the work. Mrs. Lili took care of the lake, the geese, the birds, the flowers, the trees, and everything there. Everyone in the kingdom had their own activities, except for Mrs. Cricri, who spent the day evaluating Mrs. Lili's work. Mrs. Lili, in turn, did her work in silence and did not get involved in anyone's life. Mrs. Cricri was always speaking ill of someone else's life in the kingdom. She knew about everyone's lives and always made mean comments. Besides, she used to spend a lot of time in the lake talking to some geese. The other animals did not have time to go to the lake, so the duck would not meet them. Mrs. Cricri always wanted to be right about everything. The geese listened and made no comments. They were already used to Mrs. Cricri's complaints. Once, the duck wanted to disturb the work of the rhinoceros. Mrs. Lili, who knew her obligations, paid no attention. Mrs. Cricri, enraged, spread to everyone in the kingdom that the rhinoceros was not fulfilling her duty. She came by the branches to talk to the birds, the rabbits' lairs, the cats' houses, until she was able to make a revolution. Mr. Owl, feeling that there was something wrong in the kingdom, called another assembly. Everyone was agitated and asked for immediate banishment of Mrs. Lili. The wise leader then wrote a statement making a proposal to everyone. Bulletin: Inhabitants of the kingdom, evaluate Mrs. Lili's work in person and write your conclusions to be presented at the next assembly. Sign your name next to the seal of Mr. Owl. The rhinoceros continued her work normally. Mr. Owl began the assembly saying, "Sir Cat, please read your opinion." The cat said, "Mrs. Lili works with commitment and dedication. Mrs. Lili seeks to meet the needs of the inhabitants always with cordiality," said the rabbit. The geese said, We want to inform that our lake is impeccable and that we are very well treated. Mrs. Cricri left the assembly in anger. After a while, she moved to another kingdom. Mrs. Lili continued to work there until the end of her life. She was very dear to everyone.